Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Welcome to another edition of Play It Through. And this time around, it's the Christmas edition of Super Mario Bros. 2. One of the oldest ROM hacks that I've ever really messed with. This is from 1999. Now, this is going to be a much more casual Play It Through, as I'm doing this as kind of just a little Christmas bonus to all the viewers who have been supporting and watching over the course of the last few years. Now, the story is pretty much the exact same as Mario 2. Mario has entered through another weird cave and gone through a mysterious door and is dropped into the world of Super Mario 2 just now with a Christmas theme. The characters aren't changed up all that much. Of course, there's no real difference in the gameplay, and the level design is the same, just with a Christmas snowy atmosphere, which is actually well done. For an early ROM hack that this is, it's pretty well done. I love the snow effect that's going on throughout most of the levels, and the color palette changes to platforms and other things look well done. Since Mario 2 is one of my all-time favorite platformers, and of course was my most infamous video of all time, the original Play It Through of Super Mario 2, I figured this was a good game to celebrate the holidays with. The POW block even has been changed up to say ho on it, so it's like ho 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 as it's rotating. And for the characters, I will be switching off between levels, so every level I'll select the next character in line. So we'll start with Mario, go to Luigi, Toad, and then Peach. It won't be nothing but Luigi in this run. I will take a couple of minor shortcuts here and there, but I will be playing through every level of the game as we go through, so you can kind of look at the backgrounds and any of the changes that did happen in this particular ROM hack. Mario is actually one of my least favorite, if not my least favorite character to actually play as in Super Mario Bros. 2. I actually like the other three characters and the way they control their weight and their movement a lot more than Mario. When we make it to the top of the beanstalk, we run into the first replacement Birdo. For this Xmas edition, we have a snowman has actually replaced, and all the Birdos have been replaced by the snowmen. For level 2, we're going to be picking Luigi, who is in this ridiculous, like, pajama elf outfit. We'll start off by waiting, of course, for the Pidgeot to come down, and I'm gonna just, instead of actually waiting, I'm just gonna jump along the head of the Bezo here and just fly over to the far right and use the increased special jump in order to blast my way up using the Ninja in order to get to that top portion to skip a large chunk of the level. I think the timing overall of taking out the Birdos, or the snowmen in this instance, has become so second nature to me of playing Mario 2 so many times. I wonder if I actually could complete Mario 2 blindfolded. It's something I've actually never tried, but I bet you I could do pretty well. I doubt I could beat the game, at least not initially, but I have a feeling I could do pretty well a blindfolded run of Mario 2. For level 3, we're going to switch to Toad, which I do really like the color scheme for Toad in this particular ROM hack. The more snowball-like type of headgear that he has going on. Now, I won't be using the warp, but I will carry the potion all the way over to the far right. I always end up picking it up, and I'll put it right where the door is and just have some fun here and go inside. Because if you put a potion door over a regular door, the regular door gets priority. Boxes in the game have actually been replaced with, like, presents, as you can see here, and we have to work our way up through the chains and avoiding some of the enemies in order to get the key that the Phanto is, of course, guarding at the very top. As a kid, I always wanted to defeat one of the Phantos, and I would spend time trying to take him out. Like, I constantly would spend time throwing the key at him over and over again, trying to actually kill him, but there was no way. But I found out years later, you actually can defeat a Phanto, but it involves, like, getting one of the invincibility stars and all that, which I usually never have the patience to end up doing. Carefully, I'm going to fall down here and go through the next door that's locked. I love the snow on the individual solid platforms. We pass another one of those ho-ho-ho POW blocks, and speaking of the invincibility star, there it is over to the left that was coming up, but we're going to ignore that and go right into the first Mauser battle. Mauser, one of my favorite Mario 2 villains, if not my favorite, and one of my favorite just Mario villains in general. A couple of my favorite Mario characters and types of villains were introduced in Mario 2. The impact of this game is one of those ones that I don't think a lot of people really appreciate, just how many creatures and villains and some of the elements that ended up migrating into the later Mario games, including Mauser, Birdo, and my favorite of all time, regular enemy in Mario 2, the Sniffit. The second world of the game, the first of the two desert-themed worlds, has like a minty freshness to it. It's like mint chocolate ice cream as you're going through. It's all green and all. So just imagine, like, instead of quicksand, you're like going through melted, like, chocolate chip mint ice cream. I don't know if I was the only one, but as a kid, my hand would almost get tired, like, exhausted trying to mash the button as quick as I could. You can only go so fast while digging through all the sand, but, like, in my mind, I was like, if I press it faster, I'll be able to dig a little bit quicker, and I was just trying to, like, outrun that bullet, that last little bullet that, if I hadn't just hesitated a little bit, that would have hit me from the Sniffit. I was always trying to get down as fast as possible for the Sniffit's bullets. We're able to get all the way across, but of course, it's impossible to do so. This would be usually the first snowman as a kid that I ended up somehow messing up, and I would ride the egg of the Birdo just too much and end up falling into the pit to the left, or I would end up getting hit by the egg if I waited too long in order to make that jump. Like, that was usually the first of the Birdos that for some reason I would end up having trouble with. The later ones, some of the fire-based Birdos, no problem, but that one in particular always would mess me up as a kid for some reason. At least I usually got hit once. Like, even if I had both hits going into the battle, I somehow ended up losing one. Wow, we actually got some pretty massive slowdown here. I'm kind of surprised by the end with the amount of enemies. Everyone hates, I think everyone can agree that we hate those fire-spewing plants. Like, I just try to run underneath them as quick as I can and just get away from them. And immediately start getting ready to mash the button again as we're going to start digging our way through. You gotta give props to the ninja who's, like, actually escaping. Everyone else is, like, trying to get to Mario or whoever you're playing as, like, trying to take you out to make sure, you know, whatever. But that ninja by himself just kind of moving up, like, he doesn't care. He's like, you know what, this is a lost cause. I'm just gonna get out of dodge while I possibly can. And I've memorized it so much that, of course, I don't forget. Like, I'm not even debating, do I go left or right side there? It's always naturally on the right side, so I never end up digging into the wrong spot. You can see here, the, like, big mushroom-looking blocks have been replaced by giant, hard Santa hats. So we are taking out a snowman using a Santa hat, which is kind of adorable, actually. And now, moving on to 2-3, we get to play as Luigi again. I think he even has, like, a little flap on his butt, like, he has one of those trapdoor pajamas kind of things that he's wearing. It's just hilarious. Of course, it would be Luigi that would end up having something like this for, like, Christmas. I can imagine Luigi at Christmas time in the Mushroom Kingdom wearing, like, a pajama set as obnoxious as this. This is another instance where I usually go to the right side because I know, like, it's safe. Like, even though the Shy Guys are building up, like, I always end up going right. Even though technically left is faster, I just, for some reason, I always end up choosing the right side. And thankfully, this is the last bit of digging we have to do for a little while, at least. But, of course, coming back up, we're going to have to deal with the Phanto as we make our way back up after grabbing the key. Thankfully, you can choose either side when you're making your way down here, and once in, make my big jump. Thankfully, Luigi, I don't even have to charge it up. Almost got hit by it. Almost, that creature almost got me. But now, good old Phanto gets to chase me up the minty, snowy, whatever this is, mound of mint ice cream. Good, there. Safe. Phanto is away for now, and move on to the next room. Watch out for you. I'm just gonna run away, run away. I would always jump into that bullet, too. One of the bullets here from the snakes, I'd ended up jumping into those sometimes. Time for boss number 2. Tri-Clyde is another fun boss. The kind of the sporadic pattern of his fire was always a little bit troublesome. Especially the second Tri-Clyde, the one you fight in the second Desert World, World 6. That was always kind of a pain to make sure that I don't end up getting hit by it. And moving on to World 3-1. There was a couple of times as a kid I was like, oh, there's gotta be some secret down there in that big pit. Right there, right by that door. I would try to drop down and then lose my life. And somehow that would end up being like my last life at that point. Especially when I was really young. I'd end up losing a life there and be like, oh, I guess there's no secret. But then like a month or two later, I'd play the game again. And my stupid child brain was stupid and tried to find another secret down that pit. I'm like, I'm determined there's gotta be something in that pit. Grab the Pidgeot and ride the magic carpet all the way up. As long as I stay in like the center of the screen, there's no chance that any of the enemies here are gonna hit me. And plus, if you hang out in the center, you're pretty much guaranteed to make sure that you can reach that vine. I have to watch out, make sure that I can get underneath the fire here, throw this present across and knock out that guy. That's the hardest one, but if I'm usually really quick about it, like a really quick jump, he's not able to get multiple fireballs out, so usually I can get past him, but that can be tricky. Take out this guy using the presents instead of even waiting for him to throw out his snowballs and move on to World 3-2. Now this is a fun level, and the only level that I can, like, if you're gonna pick Peach in any single stage, this is the stage that you want to pick Peach. Peach has a decent enough jump that she'll be able to hover and float over the standing fire shooting guys. Plus, you can take this wonderful shortcut right there. Just fly over that little gap and be able to get all the way over to this area. And you can do a second one and fly all the way over to this side. And then just have to make sure that you time your bombs. I'm sure I'm not the only one that had a little bit of trouble in the past trying to make sure that you time the bomb just right. It's one of those reasons why I have trust issues. I'm like, oh, bomb, you're gonna go off, and then you either miss, barely miss, or you get like just one block, and it's like the last bomb you drop, so then you're trying to like sneak in using the ducking move, and you're trying to like just jump into that one opening. I remember I got here once, to this boss in particular, and I fell down to the bottom part, and I was having trouble actually getting back up, because as soon as I grabbed one of the blocks, like the present in this case, I threw it immediately, so it was on the top platform, and I think I took out the Birdo, but I was having trouble, like, even though, like, with the super jump, for some reason, I was messing up, and I couldn't get back up there. There's a lot less going on in 3-3, but it does introduce, like, the bombs getting dropped off. Like, they're not as scary as, like, the vultures or birds that are dropping off the Fleamen in Castlevania, but still, like, a brigade of, like, vulture dropping the bombs is, you know, it's still pretty intense. I have to wonder at a spot like this, how many people go like I am right now for the most part and just keep running back and forth left and right like in a loop? Or do they just try to jump straight up? Like, which is the more preferable method of trying to traverse this room? Like, does either going straight up with normal jumps or going like all the way left and right across the screen? It's actually pretty tough getting back down here, especially because you have to hover in the middle trying to drop from level to level, and that Phanto is just... he's not letting up at any time. Make sure I go through the right door, and don't accidentally go through the door to the right there. Gotta get that timing just right in order to clear both of those guys, and then make it up here so I can get to that next door. That's another enemy right there. That's a trap enemy. That is one of those ones that's put there intentionally because you're going to try to hurry up, and he's going to like fall on your face each time. This part stinks as well because you're like, you got to be very careful not to go down too far with the drops. So you have to play as like the more speedy character so that you can easily make it the huge chain a little bit quicker. You get a very, very little window here in order to kind of sneak in there and be able to avoid taking damage. Finally, after like forever, we make it to the end of, or right near the end of this stage. Random turtle shell, which always was weird because there's like no other turtles in the game, but you have that random shell that's there. You can take out like the ninjas with it and grab the orb and get ready for the next boss fight, which is the wonderful and fun Mauser 2 here, who has like a minty green ear going on. He must have like been digging through that mint chocolate chip desert and just got a lot of extra mint all over his body. Timing on the Mauser is one of those like that is an art. It's not even a skill. It's it's an art form, making sure that you can get consistent bomb drops on him. And then we get to move on to the actual only official snow level of Mario 2, like in the normal game. And the good thing is I get to start as Luigi here for 4. World 4 is like one of the toughest levels and toughest worlds, especially 4-2. And it's like a real testament of your Mario 2 skills, is if you're able to get through 4-2 without getting like hit at all. And this is also the level the game warps you to. Like if you take that first initial warp in World 1-3, you'll come to World 4. So once you're here, you're like, oh good, I skipped like 3 levels or whatever. But then you quickly realize maybe it's not a great thing that I skipped all those levels. Especially if you're able to make it past this one, which is just a cool level. You take the rocket ship, you go up into here, and then you're trying to avoid like the Shy Guys that are riding these like fire shooting machines, which are just really, really cool. Plus, this is the first level that didn't have any sort of boss whatsoever. But right after that, you're like, okay, cool, no boss, awesome, I'm doing really good, and then you get to 4-2. And as soon as you climb this vine, you quickly realize the hell that is awaiting you, as the armada of Bezos that are just storming you. And it's the same pattern every time, so eventually you'll get it, but like, I like booting this game up and seeing like more in it. Like, oh yeah, I remember Mario 2 from when I was a kid, and just watch them panic when they make it to this level, like if they're able to make it to this level. This particular room is another one that like consistently comes back, not just from memories from being a kid playing the game, but from the Wrestle video, because I mentioned about the whale's eye being in a different location, and that's like a random thing that will come up from time to time. Not as famous as Nothing But Luigi, but that whale with the eye in a different location. It's one of those things. And that's just something I completely just said. I'm sure, like, oh, look at it, there's some conversation I can make. Then we get to ride the second rocket ship and ride across on one of the M cannon fireball shooting guys, which has another one of the awesome Mario 2 enemies. There's porcupines. The porcupos are like in very little Mario games, but they're like one of the most adorable looking sprites in Mario 2 by far. I wish they would be more used, but they're like one of those criminally underused Mario enemies. Though I think they did make an appearance in the cartoon. I just remember for some reason one of the Mario cartoons had a porcupo in it. I don't know why I remember that, but whatever. For 4-3, we get to play as Peach. And 4-3 is actually a much easier stage than 4-1 or 4-2, as long as you know to ride the Birdo egg, or in this case, the snowman's snowball. But this is another, like, spot that I'm sure a lot of people originally, especially, I can just imagine when they played this for the first time back in, like, the late 80s, like, got to this part and like, what am I supposed to do? I wonder if anyone actually had to call, like, the Nintendo hotline and ask, like, the, you know, if that even existed at that point. I'm not sure when the Nintendo, like, hotline started where you could call. I only called it one time myself, and that was because me and my dad were both stuck at a particular spot. We were having problems in Super Punch-Out! I'll never forget that. We had to call to try to get advice. And they actually had, like, a thing, and it worked. It was actually, like, a strategy. I don't remember what exactly it was, what part of Super Punch-Out! We had problems with, but good old, like, Nintendo Help Hotline, Mario Hotline, whatever it was. Here's another fun spot where you actually get to ride on the Shy Guy, and you have to move across the spikes, because, like, you know, apparently Shy Guys, they don't get hurt by spikes at all. I love this particular key room because you get to, like, mess with the flurries. Like, they're desperately trying to get you, but if you just stay in the middle and just make those short jumps, they just keep passing one another. But trying to get out of the room, though, that's the trick, because you're gonna, like, grab the key, Phanto's coming, you're gonna try to quickly get to that door, and you'll slide right on the ice and end up flying past the door and missing it, and you gotta be really careful with that. And as you can see, like, it's really hard to get through this area without taking at least one hit from Phanto, unless you, like, throw the key. Like, of course, the safe strategy with Phantos is throw the key, wait for him to completely go away, and then quickly grab it, run, like, 2 steps, and throw it again. Ah, yes, Fry Guy. One of the fun bosses of this game. Not only is he difficult to hit, but, like, when he gets to that final portion, when he splits into all the little fires, that's the tough part. Like, this is the really tough part. But I like to kind of, like, build myself a wall. And then, like you can see, I can build myself a wall so they can't come at me, and then just run quickly across the opposite side and just throw one of the remaining blocks, or presents in this case, at them and take them out. I hate the very beginning here of World 5. You have one of those flame plants right near the very beginning. You have to quickly kind of like jump over them, and then you're going to the bottom part. And then right after is that whole aspect of here where you have to like get on the jumping logs and move across, or jump on the fish. Like, this is like the level, like, we had all like the dodging mechanic in the previous World 4, and then your platforming skills are put really to the test here in World 5. If you've ever played Doki Doki Panic, the original Mario 2, the waterfall segments are even tougher than they are in the North American version, because you can't, like, stare at the waterfall. It's, like, moving so fast, like, if you stare at it, you're gonna have, like, a seizure. Like, just, it's ridiculous. I don't know why the original programmers decided to do that, but if you go back, or just watch, like, a video of Doki Doki Panic, like, the waterfall is just ridiculous. (5-2), we have to watch out right here at the very beginning, make a big jump, or you have to wait for the Ostro sometimes in order for him to pounce back. There's some Porcupos, which are always a welcome sight, and since they're so easy to dodge, it's like, oh cool, they're awesome, I'm just going to easily jump right over them, especially using Luigi. Climbing up here, watching out for Bezos. Got a couple of Sniffets, which they're cool. They're just chilling, like, you know, they're just having fun. They're actually, like, having a conversation with one another. That's why they keep firing bullets. Because that's how Sniffets communicate. They just, like, fire bullets, and this is, like, the sound of the bullet, and wherever it hits, like, that makes the different letters of the Sniffet alphabet. I'm telling you, that's the truth. Look it up. It's in a book somewhere, I'm sure. This part's really hard, though. Like, this is, like, trying to make sure that you move in between all these spikes, and then at the very bottom, there's all those open gaps, and 9 times out of 10, I would like, okay, good, the area's open back up, I'm safe, take my eye off the screen, and end up falling right directly in a pit. But thankfully, the level's pretty short, because right after that is the snowman or Birdo or whatever, so we can quickly get out of this level. But trying to survive all those spikes, 5-3 immediately brings back all the brigade of bombs trying to like just completely blanket firebomb like everything on the screen. Trying to move as fast as I can to keep ahead of them so the bombs don't end up dropping on me here with Toad. And if I wait too long, thankfully they just flew right overhead here, like instead of any of them actually getting dropped. I guess I just moved too fast for them. And you have a few, like, breakable walls here, but you can just, like, ignore the bombs and just keep going left, but you get one of those fire plants waiting for you. As you can see, I ran right into it. I also love that they replaced the blocks in this particular area with, like, little Christmas trees. Or they could be, like, the Bloody Spear cookies from The Simpsons. Have you ever seen that particular Simpsons Christmas episode? Marge makes Christmas trees for Lisa and, like, bloody spearheads for Bart. That was a little close call on that bomb. A little bit of a close call on that particular bomb. And this guy sucks. You have to, like, wait for him to come down. Like, I always, like, hide over here. Once he gets down far enough, I, like, hide in a little cove. And then do, like, the same for the next guy. Wait for him to, like, bypass before I attempt to climb up. Finally, though, reaching the top of this section. Good old Pidgeot, thank you very much. I will gladly take your magic carpet and use it to fly across this giant gap. You have, like, just enough time to make sure you can clear most of it. Snowman time. Thankfully, it's just a regular easy Birdo. And this one, you don't have to really worry about it doing anything special. It's not like one of the fire ones that we have to deal with from, like, here on out. Like, this is, like, I think the last regular Birdo, maybe. Or Snowman, whatever. And now Claw Grip, the added boss, because he wasn't in Doki Doki Panic. He's only in Mario 2, or Mario Brothers USA, Japanese name, but... in Japan, in Doki Doki Panic, it's actually a third Mauser you have to fight. Like, it's like a solid white Mauser or something. But it's actually one of the cooler boss designs because of the way he throws the rocks. It is a bit sporadic. But I just love the way it bounces and the way you're able to, like, jump on the rocks and then launch him at him. He's one of the cooler bosses. I think overall boss design in Mario 2 was one of its better aspects. And now on to the second mint-filled chocolate chip desert world, world number 6. This is where you get dropped off from the second warp. If you take the warp in world 4-2, you'll get warped to this part. And, man, like, trying to get here, like, when you're doing, like, a speed run, you're getting right through, like, right from world 1 to 4 and then 6. It's a big jump in difficulty. Like, going through each level individually, not that big of a jump, obviously, but... Also, I've memorized, of course, which of the tubes to go through for the key instantly every time. Like, that's cemented into my brain. I'll probably be, like, 90 years old. If I can somehow, like, even live to that age. But, however old I end up living to, I'll remember where that spot is until the end. And now the fireball shooting Birdo, which this guy, this is one of the bad Birdos. Like, I've never been friends with this particular one. Back to the front of the line as we go to 6-2. Now, 6-2 is a very interesting stage because you're riding the bird and you, like, have to ride this one bird all the way across. Like, there's a way, I'm sure, with, like, Peach, you can speed through it a little bit quicker, or maybe even Luigi, you can make a high enough jump, but if you're using Mario or Toad, like, you lose this bird, you're done. Like, you have to restart the level. Like, you gotta make sure that you're able to get on this guy. And you get just enough height with the super jump in order to jump over the fireballs and to make it to the platforms that you have to reach. Be very quick there. I'm able to make it barely up at the very end. And time for Birdo. This one's not as bad as the previous one because you have like that off platform that you can stand on, so you can kind of like get the advantage of the fireballs going over your head if you duck. Or if you're already small going into the fight or during the fight. And the last time that we're going to be playing as Luigi, and take the shortcut over here to the left and sink slowly into the mint chocolate chip ice cream and jump consistently and repeatedly all the way through this quicksand in order to make it to the far left and go through the door. Now I have to be very careful jumping on these platforms all the way over to the door. Now this Birdo isn't as bad because he actually at least fires eggs. But trying to actually get up here, that's the tricky part. I usually end up getting hit at least once. I get hit by him much more so than actually the boss coming up the second try, Clyde. I always immediately like run to the front of the line because it's less of a chance that you're going to get hit by one of the fire. And then as soon as I throw that first one, then I run back and I grab one of the other ones, like during that little brief intermission between hits that you're able to do. And thankfully, he still only takes 3 hits like the first try, Clyde, or else that would be a lot tougher fight. You would have fewer chances and opportunities in order to actually hit him. Like imagine if it took like all but one or even all of those blocks in order to take out the Tri-Clyde. Like one mistake, if you miss one, you have to like completely redo it. Of course I'm going to take the shortcut here and do a super jump up to the bird and ride it all the way across to the left. It's one of those classic shortcuts here in Mario 2 and get right to the rocket ship. The second half of the level though is a lot tougher. You can do a big super jump with Luigi off the top of that sniffet, the top sniffet, and like get right over and get on the ladder. But if you're using any other character, you have to take the long way, which requires, unless you want to take damage, waiting for that shy guy to kind of go to the left. But we get to hang out with another sniffet for a few seconds, so it's not all bad. Now up here, the blocks have been replaced once again with another Christmas item. Instead of trees or presents, they're actually red Christmas balls. And we have to build our platform up so that we can do our nice super jump and just barely reach the ladders up here so we can keep going. And keep climbing past another sniffet. He's just hanging out, enjoying himself, and reach the door. And time, of course, for another Birdo. But they give you a nice block to help you out. You can throw it out here. Watch out for the flames as best as possible. Quicker I do it, the better. Grab the crystal, and we're moving on to the final stage of Super Mario Bros. 2, the Christmas Edition. You also gotta love, though, that there's enough levels in the game, exactly enough, because the game doesn't have, like, 7-3, ends at 7-2, that you get just enough that you can play as every character an even amount of times, which I doubt they planned it that way, but it's just cool that it kind of works out that way. Now, I will be taking the shortcut. If you don't know the shortcut, I'll be surprised if any veteran of Mario 2 doesn't know the shortcut, but I will be taking it. I'm using my hover ability to fly over all the fire shooting plants if I can. But like right here, we're going to use the, like when you jump off the chain at the right second and then bounce your way up so that you can run across the top here. You got to make sure that you jump over the other chains and just keep heading right past this, what normally would be a Birdo there, and then a Birdo over here. But because we come over here not the way you're supposed to, we don't actually have to defeat the Birdo in order to grab the key. We can just grab it and move right in, and then right to this locked door where we get to face off with our friend the Mask Gate. I don't think he has a different name. I think his name is just like Mask or Mask Gate or whatever it is. I always thought it was a really awesome design though, because it's like this giant bird face. So it's really cool. But once we defeat him, it's time to face off with Wart. We get that awesome Wart battle music. And now we get to defeat our friend Wart, who is wearing his green Santa hat. I think it would have been funny though also if like for this fight, like instead of like the items, like the vegetables we throw at him would have been different as well, but still. Wart's an underrated villain. Like, he's only in this game and technically a cameo in like Link's Awakening or whatever, but the joy of overstuffing with vegetables. And you gotta love any boss that keeps his weakness in the room with him. Like, he doesn't like vegetables, he doesn't want to eat them, he doesn't like having them shoved down his throat, but he keeps them in a machine that consistently pumps them out in the room that he hangs out with. That's just always funny. And there's the last and final hit, and we can sit back and enjoy the ending to Mario 2, the Christmas edition. I love the ending. We get to see all the characters, how many times we played as each throughout the game, and get to see like Wart passed off by the people of this dream world that we have just saved them from the tyranny that was Wart. And of course, for the ending, we get to see Mario, and we find out it's all a dream or whatever as he wakes up before immediately going back to sleep, and we get to see the roll call of all the enemies. This was the first game I played that actually had an enemy roll call, and from like the first time I saw it in this, I was expecting like every game from like here on out to have it, because I liked knowing. I was one of those kids that was like such a nerd that I wanted to know like the names of the various enemies, like this and like the Kirby series. There was a point where I knew like every Kirby series enemy. Maybe not so much, maybe I don't remember them as much as I used to, but I still remember a good amount, especially the early Kirby games. There's Tweeter. I wonder if someone has like @Tweeter on Twitter, like, and actually has like that little creature as like their picture. That's like the dumbest thought I can possibly think of right now, but of course also the enemy roll call is wrong. Like, it doesn't have the exact proper names for everything, because it has Ostro and Birdo in reverse, which is always kind of funny to me. Because you have Ostro, his name Birdo, and Birdo Ostro. Just one of those things. There's good old Mauser. Fry Guy, Tri-Clyde, Claw Grip. Some of the just really awesome overall villains, and of course, Wart at the very end. You gotta love like the laugh after he pops up. He like laughs a little bit, like he's gonna get his revenge one day. But unfortunately, it still hasn't happened. Where is it, Nintendo? Where is Wart in a new Mario? You couldn't even put him in Mario Maker because you didn't put the Mario 2 assets in there, which would have just been amazing. But there you go. There's the end. Mario sleeps for eternity, or until I feel like turning off the game. But either way, guys, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. That will wrap up this edition of Play It Through. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider giving a thumbs up or commenting down below. Of course, be sure to check out my old Play It Through of Mario 2. Not the original, the one I kind of redid on my channel a few years after that initial Mario 2 video. But anyway, guys, Merry Christmas. Thank you for all the love and the support over the course of 2015. Hopefully we will continue to grow and the channel will keep getting bigger and bigger. Lots of plans for 2016. Already been working on my play-throughs and all that good stuff. So thank you very much for watching. Of course, a huge special thank you to all the members of my Patreon who are keeping this channel up and running. You can, of course, help out as well. Just $1 a month or whatever you would like to give. It helps this channel to not only keep growing, but to keep going. But thank you guys very much. Thanks for watching, and of course, I hope you enjoyed.